Welcome everybody to another episode of Comic Book University. I'm Chillmonger, and unfortunately, it's funny. Two weeks ago, we ended the episode with Bill choking and coughing, and I'm like, "Can you finish? Is it okay?" And I took over the show. Then I had to take over the show last week, and then this week it's me, and my guest is Professor Bill.
Hey, what's up? I'm back. I'm alive. Hey, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. It's time for the Comic Book University podcast. And this time, I guess I technically brought a Chillmonger. Realistically, he just, sucked me out of the grave. And it's like, boom, come back. And, hey.
Sometimes I suck you. Sometimes you suck me. It's okay. It's a mutual relationship.
My God, what the hell? What just happened there? I was just going to do that. I don't know if you ever played, not Altered States. That's a cool movie. Altered States. Yeah, yeah, same thing. Altered States. There's a video game, Arise from Your Grave, and you get to play a werewolf or a were-dragon and a were-bear character. You ever play that? No?
There's were-dragons and were-bears?
In this video game there is. Hells yes. It was awesome. But it starts with Zeus saying, Arise from your grave. The rest of the game could blow. But, that part is, the best part. You'd always want to play the video game just to hear that, man. It was freaking awesome. They put it for Sega Genesis, and you can still get it today. I actually have it for my PS4. You actually have the Sega Genesis, best of Sega Genesis games, 40 games that you could play. And
the digital downloads?
I'm pretty sure it's digital download also, but I actually have the disc. And then
I'm more of a digital download guy nowadays. Going to the store and getting the disc.
No,
but
it's
sort of like the comic books. It might actually be exactly the same as the comic books. Why are we going to cut out the middleman and the distributor who's had us and held us down for all those years?
Yeah, right. They had our backs all this time. Who's going to tell me what I should read nowadays, right?
And how to read it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there is a difference. There is a difference because I'm touching a comic book for all you podcast listeners, but tangibly looking at it, zooming in, getting closer, and feeling it, the surprise of what's on the next page not being spoiled for me on my computer screen.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, the smell of the book when you first open it up or pull it out of the Mylar bag. Yeah, all of it, dude.
You so willingly admit that, and I feel like it makes me creepy for liking the smell of comic books, but I like it.
Now, if you're going to be like Riddick in the Pitch Black movies, and it's you got to smell Radha Mitchell's hair and stuff that makes you a stalker. But it's it's a comic book. It's an inanimate object, man. Come on. I'm good with the smell. There you go. All right. So
we'll talk video games. We'll talk MCU. We'll talk DC. But we got to begin with the big news. Joe Sinnott.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe Sinnott dying is that's a real. It is what it is. It's a real blow to the comic book community, though. This is. Let me just look at the page stuff. On June 25th, that was last Thursday of 2020. In case you're seeing this sometime in the far-fetched future, Joe Sinnott died, 93 years old. His family said that he passed quietly. It was 8:43 in the morning or something like that. I don't remember. I didn't write that down, but they released the information on Facebook and. Yeah, it's genuinely sad. This guy started in comic books before Marvel was Marvel, and then he quickly got introduced to Stan Lee, and Stan Lee was starting his own thing with not his own thing, but he was the lead at Marvel, and it was when they were still called Atlas Comics, and that's when he brought Joe Sinnott in, and Joe Sinnott just recently retired. In 2019, that's right. The guy has been working for Marvel since before it was Marvel, and only just retired last year. This guy is one of the most prolific inkers ever. Let's see, he inked for Jack Kirby and John Romita Sr., John Buscema, George Perez, John Byrne, Bill Sienkiewicz. He got the 1995 Inkpot Award. He got 3 of the 2008 Inkwell Awards, including the Hall of Fame Award. And in 2013, he got the Will Eisner Hall of Fame Award. This guy is he's the man. The original Fantastic Four, which was the original Marvel Comics comic book. It was Stan Lee doing the writing, Jack Kirby doing the pencils, and Joe Sinnott was doing the art. And even after Kirby and Stan Lee left the comic book, Sinnott was still doing the inks. And that's why it still looked very similar to what Kirby was doing, because the touches, the finishes that Sinnott was doing were still there, and it still felt like that amazing comic book. So it made for such an easy transition any of us, I wasn't there when it first started, but any of us who've gone back and looked at those books, you'd forget that suddenly these guys weren't on the book anymore because Sanat was, and that was important, man. He did so many amazing books back in the day.
He didn't cameo in a movie, did he?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I wish you would ask me that before we went live. I don't know if he ever carried in a movie.
I hadn't thought of it before we went live, but I did notice you throwing shade at John Romita Jr. At every opportunity, you will not miss a chance. Just throw shade at John Romita.
Love
Jr.
his dad. His dad's still alive. His dad's still alive. So yeah, yeah. When did you see me go into him once his dad's gone?
Go into the DC animated film that's coming out.
Oh,
Did you see Justice League Dark, the second film?
I own it. I own a digital copy. And I still haven't watched it yet, but I've seen enough of it, and I do know that was supposed to be the final New 52 version of the DC animated universe. And I've commented so many times that this needs to end, to stop with the New 52 stuff. Well, they finally decided to stop with the New 52 stuff. That was the final one. So the new DC animated film is coming out, and that's going to be on this page, actually. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Hello. So this is going to be the new DC animated film. It's actually going to, low key, it's actually the jumping on point for the new DC animated universe. Superman just lands. It's the Superman origin story all over again. Not the New 52 version, but not even the rebirth version, just the actual Superman that we all know and love. And I think it's going to be awesome. August 23rd is when it drops on digital and physical copy. So yay. I love that. I love that because I get the digital copy because I think to myself, I want to watch this stuff immediately. But I'm the guy who wants to actually own it. Plus, I want to see all those extra features that they do and whatnot. So by them dropping both versions at the same time, it gives me the choice to buy the physical copy, which is what I actually wanted the whole time in the first place. So, yeah, that's perfect. It's going to have Lobo and Martian Manhunter in it also, which could be fun.
Whoa.
Yeah.
They're starting with those characters, so then they're building to a Justice League then.
Well, of course, they're of course going to do that. Lobo is coming down to be like, oh, what are you doing? There's the trailer's already out and it looks amazing. Superman shows up not as, in his regular Superman costume, just this. It almost looks like his original not Gotham by Gaslight. That was the original Elseworlds comic book. I think the second one that came out, what was that one called? I did a spotlight and story for it, where what if Clark Kent was actually adopted by the Waynes. So he'd be like Clark Wayne, essentially, something like his son died in the alley. Their son died in the alley, so they adopted Clark, and he has the Superman powers, but he's, the Gotham version. And it was a really cool book. Great book. I loved it. But this kind of looks like that costume just a little bit, except you can actually see the full face on it. Anyway, yeah, he shows up and Lobo shows up as a comet, and he's just like, what are you doing on this planet, alien? And then Lobo responds back, what are you doing on this planet, Kryptonian? And he's like, oh, you know me. Hey, I can get some answers from you. So, yeah.
So that's going to be the first movie in this film universe. I'm sure there's going to be a Batman movie and a Wonder Woman movie and maybe an Aquaman movie. But in each of their movies, similar to how they got Martian Manhunter, in the Batman movie, you'll get a guy who's not going to carry a movie, but he'll be in his Batman movie. You know what I mean?
Like Martian Manhunter, yes. He's an amazing character. And Superman and Martian Manhunter, I think that he's an amazing character. Every time they talk about Superman, the last Kryptonian. I'm sorry, how many Kryptonians are there? There's a lot. There's a lot.
But Martian Manhunter is not A tier. He's not movie.
I agree.
You put your...
Well, is he not movie tier? He's not movie tier, like solo movie tier in the WB. But if Marvel if Kevin Feige, were to be a part of that, oh hell's yes, he'd be A tier immediately.
Yeah,
they'd Iron Man him. Like I said, a lot of the kids today, they're just like, Iron Man. He's like one of the greatest heroes in the Marvel universe. Nuh-uh. That started with Robert Downey Jr.
Even the Iron Man 2020 comic is low selling today, even after all those movies. Iron Man's nothing.
Yeah, I remember I used to read Iron Man all the time when I was a kid. I loved the comic book because I loved the concept. But I remember even of all the comic books I would read, there were two comic books that even the comic book store owners and workers would, lightly rag on me about. It's like, why are you reading Iron Man and Hawkman? Like nobody cares about those characters. Like, shut up, man, they're cool characters.
I hate to tell you, they were right about Hawkman. No one cares about.
Bite me.
So I'm guessing you're not going to get one of these.
Put me in charge of a Hawkman movie. I promise you, he will be A tier in a heartbeat.
I'm looking forward to getting this in September. It's the Tales of Suspense not
the
number one.
Facsimile Collie. I think that should be issue number 39. I think that was the first appearance of Iron Man.
You are correct.
Tales of Suspense. Nice. But what do you call it? Yeah. Oh, they're doing the facsimile cover. Awesome. I would love to own the facsimile cover.
So everyone go to your LCS and let them know. Get me that first appearance of Iron Man comic.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That original armor design that was designed by Jack Kirby. Do it.
I'm hyped for the new Iron Man. I was talking to Boom about this last week. How you feel about the new Iron Man comic? You saw the trailer on Marvel's YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. With Alex Ross doing the design. Yeah. I'm down with it, man. Here, a little bit of trivia. Do you know who designed the original red and yellow armor for Iron Man?
I don't. Can I guess?
Sure.
John Romita Sr.
No, good guess. It was actually Steve Ditko.
Ah.
The guy who designed, whose design for Spider-Man actually went through. And he's pretty much the sole creator of Doctor Strange, because even Stan Lee admits, yeah, I didn't really even like the character. So that was a...
I saw a video on him and the way that he used to draw hands and how he was the best at it.
Yeah. Yeah, drawing hands isn't easy, honestly. But yeah, when you think about it, that whole, I love you symbol, that's, upside down is Spider-Man, forward is Doctor Strange.
Right.
It's like he used it for both. It's like, But Steve Ditko did a lot of characters, and he didn't use that hand symbol for them, like Hawk and Dove or what else did he do? Mr. A is his most famous solo character, whatever, but he did the Question. He did, what the heck is the guy's name? The Creeper. He did the Creeper. He did a bunch of characters, and he never used that hand symbol again.
Justice League. Henry Cavill. What did he say about Zack Snyder?
Okay, so here's a new thing. I think that we should have a new segment where every week we talk about the absolute worst news article that we have read when it comes to comic books. Because this lazy freaking writing that these monkey butts are doing. Like what?
Monkeys or donkeys? We should give a Donkey of the Week award.
Yeah, that's the thing you were saying before, the Donkey of the Week award. We'll give right? Donkey of the Week award. I don't know, man. Just jackass. Like donkeys, jackass is very similar, right?
Yeah.
So Jackass of the Week award for a comic book article. Lazy ass. And there are a lot of lazy ones, man.
Bro, I looked at a lot of comic book articles this week, not just for this Henry Cavill thing, but also for the Warren Ellis thing. Because by the way, your live stream earlier today where you just broke everything down was so, and I haven't even finished watching the whole thing because I had to come back here to do the recording, but I was just agreeing with everything. Like, yes, Warren Ellis, he did something pretty bad. Yes, but bad morally isn't like when do we hold the women accountable for what they did and their part in all of it? Young and Vulnerable, okay, but are we arguing that women are not capable of who they, of deciding who they sleep with? Because if we are, then we're putting restrictions on women. You get it? Like, what they did was they took the shortcut. They took the I'm going to be with Warren Ellis route to advance themselves, which makes the victims here the people who are not with Warren Ellis, who are trying to get a job in the comic book industry. The victim is because a publisher's going to be like, okay, we need to do a woman book. Warren Ellis picks up the phone and says, hey, hire Katie. I shouldn't have said Katie. Any name. Hire Joy. And the runner-up is someone who's actually doing things the right way, was going to get the job, but the Warren Ellis, endorsement got her the job. That's the victim. The victim is the girl who's not sleeping with Warren Ellis. And in this case, he's Warren Ellis. Like he's going to use his reputation. He's going to use his accomplishments to pick up women. Everyone does that. Dwight Howard, Wilt Chamberlain, all these athletes. I'm naming athletes if you didn't know.
I didn't know.
No.
Like Will Chamberlain, this sounds like a politician in Britain. I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, you don't take off your, because that's your accomplishments. You're going to talk about everything you've ever done when you're speaking to women and trying to pick them up. And maybe in some of these cases, they've come to him. And in all of these cases, I'm pretty sure it's happening at a social gathering where drinks are served and girls are old enough to decide this stuff. And whether they're right or wrong to sell their bodies for mentorship or anything,
If that even happened.
if
Yeah,
that even happened, because
don't misrepresent too much of what I was saying. You said you
right.
didn't finish everything.
Mhm.
Again, I do believe that what he did was wrong, but I believe that there's a lot of things that are wrong that aren't called out on, and I think that we should call out all of it. And it's not about like this is not like a Black Lives Matter. No, all lives matter. No, I'm not trying to dilute anybody's argument.
Right.
What I am saying is some of these things absolutely are related, and we simply have to think about these things more than just the first answer that we come across, whether it's our answer or the answer that somebody else gives us.
So much you said that I want to add to. So I'm always going to have an inclination to believe women
Yes.
yes. But once I read it and I totally believe everything they're saying, I'm just looking at what they're saying as in what way were you like wronged here, where everything you did, everything that happened was by your own consent and by your own, consent. You made this
consent.
conscious decision. You're not saying you were drunk. You're not saying, and even the woman trying to damn him, there was one named Jane who posted emails of him and he's talking about her measurements on an email.
Oh,
And
I
then
didn't even see that.
yeah, there's two emails that she showed an hour apart. The first one was like, your measurements, 37, 28, 37. Man, you got the genetics and something nice like that. And the next thing
How
he
did
said,
he know her measurements?
bingo.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's missing. So the
Like,
second
is
email,
he really good that he could just look at someone and right away know the measurements? Or
My-
did she tell him the measurements and she refused to put in where that came from? Because we could pick and choose.
that's what it
Yeah,
looks
that's
like.
not even a hard one.
So my imagination leads to that. I guess, she got some enhancement and he was talking about it, but she decided to share that. The next email that she sent, that he sends her is, something like, I remember, she's like, yes, I know. And I remember how you moved under my hands. He says that. And in her mind, what she's doing is she's outing him. But in my mind, I'm like, you're exposing the fact that you were an accomplice in this, not accomplice, you're a participant
A willing
in this
participant.
relationship.
Yeah.
Unless maybe she was moving away from him and that's what he means, but I don't think he would ever write, I
That's the
remember
thing,
when you
when
ran
you-
away.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, when you post the worst thing that you could possibly post about
Yeah.
somebody and all
that
I've
was it.
got are the questions like, well, what happened before? What happened after? What's the context of this? No, that's not the way it works.
And she says she's got like an archive of all these emails. And then she
Then
posted
please
those
release every single one of them in their entirety. Please, so I can actually make a fair judgment.
too. Now, the first woman who spoke up, her name was Katie West.
Okay.
I respect what she did because all she's saying is, ladies getting in, there's this guy named Warren Ellis. He's gonna try his best. He's to get you in his bed and then he'll drop you later on. Don't do this. And she's admitting that she did it, but the fact that she's putting out the call, she's putting out the Fantastic Four logo up in the air, guys,
Yeah.
Warren Ellis, look out for him. That's actually noble. I respect that. And that was her intention. That was what she said in her final tweets. She made a long thread. She deleted that and she said, this was my point, guys. That's great. Now everyone knows about him. And now all the comic book publishers can't pretend they don't know about him, who are accomplices in this, not necessarily a crime, but they're accomplices and they were, allowing to take the Warren Ellis endorsement and hiring these women for artwork or for whatever they hired him for. But the fact that these publishers will now get a phone call from Warren Ellis, they'll be able to be like, no, buddy, that pipeline has dried out. If we hire someone based on your recommendation, we look bad over it. So we're not going to do that. So something great was done. People who try hard and write and edit and ink and write, like all those people will get their jobs now, or at least less of them will have their jobs taken away because a woman wanted to sleep herself to the top. And that's what it is. I understand what victim blaming is. I get it. I wouldn't victim blame. I don't consider these women victims.
Well, I personally just don't know enough about it to decide who is and who isn't a victim.
Fine.
Yeah, that's just the way I look at it. It's because they're not releasing all the information. Maybe they're not releasing because they're too embarrassed, for whatever
That's
reason.
yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons why maybe they're not doing it. But when you release some things and not everything, you're actually making more questions than you're making answers for at least those of us who are willing to think about it. But yeah,
And let me also say, if he's putting his hands on these women, then I'm totally on the side of the women that he abused. And I'm on the side of everyone he tried to hit on and that they denied him. I'm sure there's a bunch of women. I respect women and I understand that not everyone is willing to go to these depths to get their job. So I'm sure he actually tried this method on some girls who were like, no, Warren Ellis, I'm not about to do that. I'll do it the right way. Shout out to them.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. I've been in positions of authority before, and I can honestly say I never once thought to do something like that. So like making a mistake. Just the idea that he would do something like that, it says a lot about his morals. The question is it a crime what he did? No, it's not. It just makes him kind of a grody person.
And just a reminder, you said the word authority.
Yeah.
Even that's a little bit too strong of a word because he's not the one hiring and firing. What he has is pull. He's got influence. He's got the ear of people. And that's what you're signing up for when you're effing. If it was like the secretary and the president, we were just talking about this last time. I don't mean the Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, but I just mean like you're working in the same building and the one who's a little bit below you who gets hired. If you're using that person, fine, I get it. Then I can see that there is a power structure. But over here, it's a freelance environment and it's just a bunch of people meeting. I don't see it as that, as he has authority on her.
Well, no, he doesn't have authority. Yeah, thank you for bringing up the Monica Lewinsky thing again, because like I think it's abhorrent that Bill Clinton to this day still gets a free pass, even though he did that. And we know from that Netflix documentary, this freaking guy went to Epstein Island, not even the house. He went to the island. I didn't even know that he had an island. He had Pedo Island. Like, what the hell's going on? Ehud Barak, for the former Israeli prime minister, was just recently added that he'd gone there. They have pictures of him going in there and stuff. It's like, dude, you people are like, you are criminals. You are criminals. That's criminal. Mm-hmm. You deserve to be in jail right now. Bill Clinton deserves to be in jail for that nonsense, man.
Lock him up.
Lock him up, dude. Lock up. You can't lock up one Clinton, lock up the other. But like, this guy actually did commit an obvious, painfully obvious crime. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but so the Warren Ellis thing isn't the same, but it is one of those things where it's like, hey, I am a gatekeeper. Hey, if you want a shortcut, come on in. Saying I've got a shortcut. So yeah, that's like really disgusting. It's like, hey, you rub my something and I'll rub your back. It's like, whoa, dude, not cool.
And then he'll take away the opportunity he just gave you. He'll make a phone call and be like, hey, remember Jenny? Nah, we can't. You don't want any business with her, trust me. And then they'll drop her.
Well, they could. That it's easier to get someone in than it is to take someone out. But either way, it sounds a lot like, some of these women were just scorned. The idea like, oh, he loves me and he's amazing and he's not talking to me anymore. He's not returning my phone calls. It's like, dude, he got you in the business apparently. So I don't understand. He did the best he could for you and he wasn't interested anymore. Just it is what it is, man.
That's just relationships all over.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what that is. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. But yeah, using your authority and like his excuse of I never considered myself to have authority, that can literally only go but so far. And I'm talking about centimeters on a ruler. Saying that can only go but so far that, you don't have a lot of pride. You don't have a lot of, you don't have a lot of instinct in the idea of, what you're capable of doing. The fact that you can call somebody up and say, hey, can I recommend this person? That doesn't go a long way. But again, I'm especially bothered. Like, what if I was the guy who they were considering, and then Warren Ellis, since he's more interested in this girl than he is in me, says hire this, this girl for it instead. If I found out that I was, number one on that list, and then I got bumped because, she did whatever, I don't want to hear victiming. I don't want to hear victiming. I'm like, dude, you did what you had to do. You did what I couldn't do. Not that I would, but that's just messed up, man. Anyway.
And okay, we'll drop it.
No, go ahead. Whatever you want.
And to anyone saying that they did what they had to do, this isn't an essential, I needed to survive, like the example you were giving in your live stream. But like, I'll give another one. Let's say the end of the month, it's June 29th. landlord's knocking on my door asking for the money. I can't do it, but I will allow myself to, for the sake of the kids, for the sake of survival, I'll do what I have to do with the landlord. Anyone doing that, I respect that. Shout out to you. You had to make a horrible decision, or for food, or for, something essential like that. But to be in the comic book industry, there's 1,000 other jobs. You did not have to do what you had to do. And you're not the victim.
Sex workers. I've seen documentaries like Real Sex with HBO when that used to, I don't know if it still comes on, but like some sex workers actually want to be in the business. So like, dude, I'm paid. I forget who it was. There was some famous, or some girl who did porno. I can't remember what her name was. She actually wound up becoming a regular big screen actress too, I think, a little bit. Anyway, she went to Rutgers in New Jersey. And I was like, oh, crap. She paid by being a stripper, on a pole dancing, all that stuff. She paid to be able to go to Rutgers and whatnot. Wow. Awesome. You know what I'm saying? She's got an ability or whatever that I don't have, God-given or otherwise. More power to you. Awesome.
Nah, don't sell yourself short.
You think I could pull it on the pole?
Oh yeah.
But when I was younger, I used to be skinny enough that I could have bent the pole. Just hold on to the roof. They're swinging around me. Slippery when wet. But anyway, yeah, man, just like it is what it is. But so I understand the idea that sex workers, they don't want to do that. They just need the money. With all due respect, brah, I've worked plenty of jobs that I don't want to be in. Just think about the way that insurance works nowadays. People saying, oh, you don't need universal health care because people get insurance through their jobs. One, not everybody has insurance through their jobs. Two, sometimes people work at jobs that they hate because the insurance is good. It's like they'd rather get another job, but their insurance is tied to their job. And they don't want to, I'm going to quit this job and then I have to go for a month or 3 without insurance and then go over here and, but I've got one of those pre-existing conditions. So I actually won't be picked up by the insurance anyway if I leave this job. So you're stuck with a job that you despise. Listen, we all deal with stuff like that. And I don't want to hear that sex is worse because if you're voluntarily doing it, because money, the world is not a cookie cutter. And with the day that we can recognize that the world is not a cookie cutter, we can't just cookie cut the dough and get all the same shapes out of everything. That is the day that we can recognize that each individual case has to be looked at as an individual case, So some sex workers actually want to be sex workers. It's not something they hate.
I'd rather not restrict them from doing something than put up a whole bunch of restrictions on things.
Exactly.
There's so few people that want to do it that it doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah.
That's my same position on abortion. As much as I'm against killing a potential life, you know what doesn't affect me? It happens to other people. It's like they want to do it. It's them. All right, hands off. I've
got the Dave Chappelle version on this. It's not my body. I don't get a say.
And then he goes, well, the men should also have a say if they want to leave.
I'm going to say something that a lot of people aren't going to like. I agree with that position also. If you want to have this baby, okay, I don't get a say in whether you have it or not. But if I don't want to have this baby, I shouldn't have to take care of this baby. I can choose to just leave you. Hey, as mean as that sounds, tough. I think that's fair, just like Dave Chappelle said.
Once we enter the territory of killing a life, then that's not so bad actually. I'm sort of with him. My initial position is we shouldn't be killing any babies, but if we are killing babies or fetuses, just to whoever's yelling at their podcast right now, they're not real babies. I understand, but if we're doing the killing, then or eliminating, if I'll put it that way, Dave Chappelle's right. Okay, let's get back on track because that was not a topic. We weren't supposed to talk about Warren Ellis this long. Was it Justice League or was it Three Jokers?
It wasn't even on the docket to talk about Warren Ellis. It's like I got that out of my system on the live stream.
No, I was still talking about it, and I would still love to talk about it. If you want to leave it in the comments of this YouTube video, if you want to chat up with me on Discord, let me hear the opposite side of it because you guys know where I feel about it.
Same.
Where are we going? Three Jokers, or are we at the Justice League topic?
Oh, the Justice League topic. Okay. So, we still didn't do the Henry Cavill thing. So, dumb, stupid things. Somebody made an article that Henry Cavill says that he's glad that Zack Snyder gets to fulfill his dream project by making his version of the Justice League. That was the gist of the article. It was like several paragraphs long, and that was the gist of it. A whole bunch of repeating of, pretty much nothing. That was the article. Oh my God. Some people don't deserve to be in business. Some people just don't deserve to be in business, man. Like I said, there are YouTubers out there that just first off, there are these dumb articles where there's nothing to say about it. And then there's some of the dumb YouTubers out there who just report on these dumb articles. It's like, my opinion on your opinion on what? Henry Cavill is happy that this is literally a reporter, if that's what you want to call him, who sends a text or a private DM or sees Henry Cavill and is like, hey, tell me about, what do you think about such and such and such? Or maybe it's part of a longer thing, and he or she takes this part of this conversation and said, oh, well, I'm going to make an article just out of this one thing that he said in this one article that I read. It's like, dude, you've got nothing to say. Why are you talking? and then you got YouTubers like, let me give you my opinion on, like, that's really noble that Henry Cavill will say such and such. Shut up. Oh my God. Oh my God. You exist for me to make fun of you. That's the way I look at it. That is the only purpose for your existence in the public outlook, is for me to make fun of you. Congratulations. You have fully lived up to your highest potential. You are a meme. Oh man. Anyway, there's more as far as the Suicide Squad is concerned, at least. Check this out. So in another really dumb interview, Courtney Jai was approached, the guy who plays Captain Boomerang. Okay. And says, hey, so can you tell me something about Suicide Squad? James Gunn. And he's like, yeah, I'm on. So I spent hours in a water tank with styrofoam stuffed in every part of my costume that it could fit in. That was pretty much it. And then there's speculation. Could this be the scene where we're introduced to Killer Shark? And could it be that dude, what? This is an article that you're reporting on? This is something that you're reporting on? This was the second dumbest thing that I found. Because at least we know that there's a water tank involved. And he talks about how he got to have jokes and play around and all this other stuff. But this actually did lead me down a road that at least this article served a purpose, because it led me to other stuff. There was some tweets that were put out where James Gunn was asked about who had the best. It's known that so basically who had the best runaway scene. So it's known that James Gunn is totally cool with, you improvising lines. So it's like, he's got a script, use the script. But if you want to improvise in another take, by all means, if he likes it, he'll go with it. He'll take that shoot, or he'll say, do it again. Forget the script. Do that again. Whatever it is. He likes when you improvise a line. He loves that. Dave Bautista was elevated massively by Gunn because of his ability to do that, on Guardians of the Galaxy. So he said, who's the one who did that here? So he names a couple of names, but the name that he keeps on pushing is John Cena.
Yeah.
Right? No, yeah, he couldn't see him, but somehow he knew. It's like he says the best scene-stealing moments in Suicide Squad come from John Cena. Even more, he was praised at how good John Cena was in the movie overall. So, John Cena, the guy who can't do anything apparently, the five, or he just got the sixth move of doom or whatever. Apparently, I'm looking forward now to see if James Gunn's Suicide Squad is going to have John Cena be this genuine breakout star. Could this be? Let's see.
We'll see.
Will he be the new James Bond villain like Dave Bautista was?
That's true. I hope the best for John Cena, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dwayne Johnson for setting this blueprint.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. He did it better than Hulk Hogan ever did.
Yeah, I know there were other wrestlers who did it. Roddy Piper.
Thunder in Paradise, though, man. Yeah, Roddy Piper is unsung. That guy was really good. And Jesse the Body Ventura also. Those guys are unsung heroes in the wrestling transition to... What?
Which of those wrestlers we just mentioned do you want to do an impression of?
Can
you do an eyebrow?
No, I think you could do it better than I could hold one down and lift it up. I can't do The Rock very well. But I can tell you this, as the governor of Minnesota, brother, let me tell you something. I am the only major politician who went on a libertarian ticket that is an independent ticket. And they blacked out and we didn't have money to do this stuff. And I was still elected. So I want you to think about that. All right. That's what we did. That's what we accomplished. And maybe one of these years, we're going to have to see a wrestler in the White House.
That's a beautiful impression.
Jesse the Body Ventura is, I would definitely vote for this guy. His policies, everything. And I don't even like libertarianism, as a whole. I just, not even take it or leave it. I just leave it. Leave it under the ground. But the way that his version of it, the idea of you don't need new laws, you just need to enforce the laws that we already have, things like that. Yes, this is my guy, so digging that.
3 Jokers.
3 Jokers were something else. So Jason Fabok goes and makes, and I had to have not I had to, it sounds like I had to sit him down and have a conversation with him. No, that wasn't the case. But he's cool people. Go check out the interview that I just had with him, me and Carlos from Gotham Central Comics Collectibles right here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. What do you call it? We did an interview with him recently, and so he responds to me, and he's really cool for that. He's genuinely very cool for that. So he put out that there's going to be 3 issues of the 3 Jokers. We know this. And I know that there's going to be variant covers. I don't know how many variant covers. Usually for DC's, what's it called? The Black Label stuff. There's usually 2 there's usually 1 main cover and 1 variant cover. So 2 covers. In this case, there's supposed to be multiple covers for the 3 Jokers. So he puts out that there's going to be, what are these things called specifically? Each will come with 1 of 3 collectible, trading cards. So there'll be a collectible trading card with each cover. So I'm like, crap. So you're telling me that when issue 1 comes out, I'm going to have to buy 3 different covers. Because I might do that anyway if the covers are really nice because I'm dumb. But nonetheless, you're making me so that I can get all 3 of these collectible trading cards. So I was very polite and I asked him, I changed my words. I took the emotion out of it and I went very stoic and I asked him about it. He responds and he's like, oh, no. There's going to be 3 issues. So whichever comic book that you get, whichever cover you're going to get that when you buy issue 1 with whatever cover, you're going to get that first trading card. When you buy issue 2 with whatever cover, you get the second trading card. And same thing with the third one. I'm like, dude, you are freaking awesome. So, thank you for that clarification and everything. Mm-hmm. And he recognized I guess that was a little bit, misleading. You could take, wrong things from that. So that is awesome. That is really great to hear. So we're going to get a freebie with the 3 Jokers. Cause let's be realistic. Who out there is not actually going to buy all 3 issues of the 3 Jokers to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And the idea that we're all going to buy it anyway, and he's going to give us a little freebie also, that is the coolest thing that I've heard from DC in the past year or 2. That's saying a lot.
You're not a fan of them leaving Diamond?
Not a fan of them leaving Diamond, the way that they're doing it, all that stuff. We talked about that, man.
Yeah. We also... we didn't talk about the Marvel Games Workshop.
Oh, the Games Workshop stuff. Okay, so Games Workshop, as many of us in the role-playing game community know, makes, amongst other things, Warhammer 40K. Mm-hmm. So we've seen comic books for Warhammer 40K before, whatever. Now Marvel is going to do one. Instead of Dark Horse is the one that usually does it. Marvel and Warhammer Games Workshop are going to make Warhammer 40K Marnus Calgar origin story. Now, if that alone, this major space marine badass general, actually getting an origin story isn't enough, it's also drawn by Jason Burrows and written by Kieron Gillen.
Oh, Kieron Gillen. That's another guy who got the Warren Ellis recommendation. Yeah,
Wait,
he hooked
what?
him up. He hooked him up. He helped him out and brought him up in the industry. I was listening to, who was it who told me this? Chaos and Comics was telling me this.
Oh. Did he sleep with him or something?
Not everyone he helped was a woman, or not everyone he groomed was a woman. Kelly Sue DeConnick and Matt Fraction both benefited from the Warren Ellis forums and everything like that.
And she said in 2 posts that were just a lot of I talked about that in my thing also, my live stream. Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Sorry, back to Kieron Gillen.
Yeah, Kieron Gillen, if you don't know, besides all the stuff that he's done for Marvel before, he also writes for Die, which is a big role-playing, fantasy style comic book also, and the very famous, very beloved Once and Future. So Kieran Gillen is going to be doing this. So that is, for anybody who's into Warhammer 40K, that's a big deal. And that's going to start releasing in October. So bang.
Bang.
Yeah.
Now,
DDP. Hells yes.
Now, video game world. We both saw the trailer for the Marvel Avengers game.
You watched it twice. I just watched it, yeah.
My, Kamala Khan is in this game, and it's not a little bit of a role. It's all about the Krees, the Inhumans. She is a main focal point of this story, and they're going all out with her. And
it seems like she's the main protagonist, yeah.
This was obviously before the Fox buyout, so you got to think during pre-production, during the script and all of this. This is when the Inhumans were the thing. And thank God. I like Kamala Khan. I want Ms. Marvel to be a household name where people pronounce it Ms. Marvel instead of Miss Marvel or Mrs. Marvel. It's Ms. Marvel. Gotta slip that in every opportunity I can.
It seems like it. But also with MODOK being the main antagonist, which is pretty interesting too. That's an interesting choice. But for all intents and purposes, having this lesser character, this is next tier. Yeah, this is basically Marvel Games doing the MCU treatment, where they're taking lesser known characters and they're A-tiering them. So now you get to play a whole bunch of different characters apparently, but if the main character is in fact Kamala Khan, this is going to introduce us to a version of her story because it's going to be an alternate universe. We're going to see all of this game, it seems, through her eyes. That is hot. That is a huge, big deal. Suddenly we've got another character out there who's just boom. And G. Willow Wilson, of course, deserves some major credit for that because nobody would have cared. You know, like, who could have really made this character that good, right? But G. Willow Wilson did, and that's awesome. Anna Sanat also, who co-created Sana Amanat. Thank you. Sorry, who actually made that. I said sorry. Jeez, I was in the military. We say I apologize. We're not sorry for anything. But I've been in Canada for too long, apparently.
So you better say sorry.
Yeah, he's got to be sorry. Man, I was never told I can't say that. But anyway, what happened? Yeah. So to me, I think that's a big deal. And a lot of people deserve a lot of kudos for making this character what she is. Ms. Marvel.
Side note, with G. Willow Wilson being special and the one and only person who can make this character pop. Let's get into Cleveland Brown, because his voice actor, that's a character from the Family Guy. It's sort of related because I'm thinking like, you gotta be a type to do work on a type of character, and I don't think that this is right. So let me start with Cleveland Brown. The voice actor name is Mike Henry, and he said he will no longer do the voice of him. Black characters should be voiced by black people, etc., etc.
So Mike is white.
Mike is a white guy, yeah. So, okay. I'm not with that, man. I understand authenticity, but I also want to appreciate and congratulate people who the skill and talent shouldn't be under this little ban. And it's voice acting, remember. Now, if this was actually face acting in a perfect world, yes, I think Jimmy Kimmel should be able to look like Karl Malone. He has a good impression of Karl Malone and do the whole thing in a perfect world.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jimmy Kimmel in the first place. Like, I don't have any reason to defend this guy. His Man Show stuff back in the day, I thought it was all I didn't think it was sexist. I just looked at it as, this is stupid. No, I never liked anything, and he's just a guy who's going to toe the corporate line at Disney or whatever freaking major umbrella corporation he works for. I've never been impressed with any major talk show host because they always toe the line. Yeah. Colbert used to be great until he became, the Late Show guy. And it's like, you're just towing the company line at this point. Nobody cares. But with Jimmy Kimmel, I come to find out that Karl Malone was actually on the show, knew about the thing, and was okay with it. He's like, it was actually a pretty good impression. So, I mean, that says something to me, but other people are going to cancel this now. It's like, dude, come on,
I recognize that we don't live in a perfect world, is what I'm getting at. And we live in a world where the movie Birth of a Nation came out. And you told me it's the first ever motion picture?
The first motion picture that was ever made was actually Birth of a Nation, which says a lot about this country.
And this is a movie that depicted blackface. And for that purpose, I would say,
Well, actual blackface. And just, I'm sorry to interrupt you for that. I genuinely am, I
no, go ahead.
apologize for interrupting you on this, but
You're a lot
do
smarter
want
than I am.
to, cute. What do you call it? Well, I might say something really stupid right now.
Okay.
I grew up understanding what blackface was.
Okay.
I know that blackface is when it's a white person not acting like a black person, but acting like a stereotypical black person. When you're purposely making the fake and you look at this person, it's like this person isn't trying to disguise himself as a black person. This person is putting on black face, which is purely meant to insult and mock the culture, the race, the people. You know what I'm saying? So if you, like, there was the time that they had Luke Cage help Punisher to dress up as a black person, put on makeup and everything, and go out and to infiltrate a gang. And I don't remember any of my black friends ever saying that this was a bad thing. Like, I don't want to name names, but like all of my friends that I hung out with, mostly black people, not a single one of them were like, in fact, all of them were like, they made Punisher black. It's like, well, he's not permanently black. He's like, shut up. They made him black for one issue. That is awesome, dude. Punisher's ours for a comic book. I'm like, okay, it's cool, man. Nobody was upset about this. In fact, it was the exact opposite. I was there when that comic book first hit the shelves. Not a single person that I knew was upset at that. Nobody called it blackface. Nowadays, blackface is anybody putting on, black makeup. And it's like, that's ridiculous. And before anybody says something, there is no such thing as whiteface. There is no such thing because there's no history of that. So there's black makeup, white makeup, and then there's blackface. That is like the stuff that Justin Trudeau did. That's blackface. That should be ashamed. By the way, I think Canada is a very funny place that needs to wake up because Justin Trudeau took a knee for a Black Lives Matter. What is the point of taking the knee?
I mean, to make changes, and if you're the prime minister and the leader and you got the authority to do all the changes, take more than a knee, buddy.
Yeah. He doesn't need to be taking a knee. He can actually enact policy change.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he completely missed the point. He's really good at, the whole, I'm going to show that I'm an ally. No. That's not the way it works, buddy. No, you don't get to take a knee. You're the last person in Canada who gets to take a knee. I don't want to see President Trump. Yeah, I don't want to see President Trump take a knee. I don't care the racist thing. I don't care about that stuff. These are the two people in these two countries who more than anybody else can enact the change that the knee is meant to be. The knee is directed at Trudeau. What's he taking a knee for? What are you taking a knee for? You freaking idiot. Like, people are missing the point of so much of this stuff and these platitudes and these false, whatever is going on. All these false equivalencies going on. Blackface is blackface. Costumes are costumes. There's a difference. The white person who dressed up like a black person to go out and see, I want to know if racism is real, like black people say. So I want to see if I experience racism. Oh. He comes back and he does that, article. He's like, yes, racism is 100% real. I can't believe how much I was discriminated against. It was so ridiculous. There are so many racist people out there and I didn't know because it never happened to me, but I dressed up like a black person. Did that person do blackface? No, that's not what it's called. We need to think past the noses on our faces. Some of us, if our noses were dynamite, we couldn't blow our brains out. Or no, excuse me. The saying my father used to say: if our brains were dynamite, you couldn't blow your nose off. That's what it was. It was.
Gotcha.
Some of us just don't get it. It's like, dude, no, stop. Understand what a thing is, and don't just start putting false equivalencies on things.
I understand why blackface and the shock of it and the hatred for it is so prevalent right now. It's because we got Instagram videos to educate us on this. We're looking at Louis Farrakhan and all them old guys Louis, my mistake.
No worries.
I mean, I read it. I don't actually.
I've been at a Savior's Day before. I don't even know do you know what a Savior's Day is?
I don't know.
That's the big holiday for the Nation of Islam. Yeah, I actually went to Newark.
To everyone who
and of course, everybody looked at me. It's like, what's this white guy doing here? And then the people who knew me was like, well, you showed up. So, of course I showed up. You guys told me I should show up and I should actually listen to what's going on here. So, yeah, I showed up. The other people are like, dude, that guy's braver than me. Why am I brave? Yeah, I've actually been to a Savior's Day event, and I've actually, gone and hung out with Nation of Islam guys for as much as any of them were willing to, because mind you, I am the white devil to them. So, but anyway,
I wish they called
sorry.
it Nation of something else for that reason. Like they don't need to victimize or whatever, like label you guys just for the color of your skin. That's not right. That's not actual Islam.
Yeah, it's usurping actual Islam. But
Gotcha.
anyway,
And I got to make sure that's said if you guys are going
yeah,
to bring it up, Nation of Islam on the podcast. So
yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie, I got to bring it back on track, but he
No,
was
that's good.
actually calling out some of this
Yeah.
racism stuff and shining a light on the fact that we got a whole white background cast behind the cameras that
Mm.
I'm not seeing. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, you got the Shield. You got the show coming up. It's filmed. You got leverage. Go ahead and speak that,
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Speak that truth. Speak truth to power. But at the same time, he also says things that I'm also not going to agree with. Like when he
What?
says that the all-black cast and all-black crew, all-black production of Black Panther, there's no diversity there. I'm
Oh,
going to
pause.
disagree.
Yes, because, and I'll let you answer. You should probably answer first.
Why?
Okay. Because the qualification, the most qualified people for costume designs just happens to be black. They understand African culture. And that applies for every other category. That is
Yeah.
why that is an all black cast and all black production, mostly black production. I get that.
Mhm.
Is that what you're going to say?
I'm going to take it a step further, I think. Because, yeah, besides the costume design, the music, the locations, all that stuff, it's also the idea that it is still diverse. Black isn't just black, right? Like, my wife's not African American or African Canadian. She's African. You know what I'm saying? What do you call it? There's lots of different kinds of black people
Yeah,
in
the
the world.
Caribbean.
It's really fun. Even if you just say like Nigeria and Rwanda or closer Kenya and Ethiopia, and Somalia, like some of them will even share similar customs, but they're not the same.
Right.
Some of them don't even have the same origins. You know what I'm saying? The Sudan. Why did North and South Sudan split? Because even in the Sudan, they're like, nah, we're different. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the world we live in, where some people, even some black people, will look at, and say, oh, if it's all black, then it's not diverse. That's not true. That's simply not true.
Likewise, if it's all white, like the NHL, it's not diverse. There's people from Finland and Norway. There's people from United States and from Canada. It is diverse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's diverse enough. I don't know. It's just one of those weird kind of things. It's like I don't know. Anthony Mackie made some really good points, and I like that he is doing his weight, but he's pulling his weight. You know what I'm saying? He's actually using his weight, I should say. He's using his weight as leverage, and I love that. Still, I'm not into groupthink, and I did find something wrong with what he said. So, but that's just me. What do I know?
What do you know? You know anything about Michael Keaton and Flashpoint?
Who's that?
The Batman role that I hear he's gonna take up. He'll be like the next guy who went from Marvel to DC back to Marvel/DC.
Oh, really quick. Sorry. With the
What?
Falcon and Winter Soldier, I also wanted to mention there are a bunch of people who are reporting that they had, this is comic book news site reporting, people who don't read comic books, obviously. Everybody wants Mephisto to show up. They had the little red skull thing on the back with the horns and the fire and everything. They were like, "Ooh, is Mephisto coming? Is Mephisto coming? Is Mephisto coming?" No, you jackass. That's a symbol of Ogun. They even showed the symbol in the Death of Wolverine stuff. And anybody who, like me, owns, and in my case, multiple copies of the Wolverine and Shadowcat, I think it was Shadowcat and Wolverine, whatever. Hello, Ogun, Wolverine's Ninja Master. You know what I'm saying? And also Kitty Pryde's Ninja Master. Hello, they're going to be in Madripoor. So that's where, he's from. No, like, people are idiots. These people on the comic book sites, they're idiots. They don't read comic books. They don't know comic books. What the heck are these freaking people doing?
They're there for the ad revenue.
I guess so.
I want
Anyway.
to go to Gwen Stacy.
Oh wait,
And
no, you were actually talking about something else. Sorry, you jumped to something. Oh, the Michael Keaton Batman thing. Yeah, just for the sake of conversation. Yeah, cool. I still want to see the guy who played Negan in there also, but I'm glad they're getting Michael Keaton to show up and play Batman again.
He also played Denny Duquette in the famous show Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, get out of town. Is that what your cup is? You got a Grey's Anatomy cup?
It's a Grey's Anatomy reference where it says, "You're my person." It's what Yang tells, huh?
Oh yeah, because I remember my wife said that about me at one time. Like, you're my person, and I didn't understand until years later that was Grey's Anatomy. I was
Yeah,
like,
that
really?
means a lot. Okay,
Really?
so you better
I guess so. I didn't
next
realize.
time you guys are on an elevator, you make her know she's your person too. That's also a Grey's Anatomy reference. For some reason, every time they go on an elevator and it's a male and female doctor, they knock
Oh man.
boots.
Oh wow. Okay. They getting booty, and not that
Yes.
kind of booty. They getting booty. Really?
Now,
You got nothing to show for that?
oh, the Bootio cereal thing? It's too far away. I'd have to get up and show it on camera.
Okay. Look, did you see that I got these two guys?
You got all three. You got
I
completed
got
the
all
set.
three now. Yeah, I got Kofi someplace. I didn't go and bring them out, but yeah. So I got my own bootios here. Go on.
The September previews came out for Marvel, and yes, X of Swords, Ten of Swords, excuse me,
Mm.
is on the cover. And on the back, they are advertising the 850th Amazing Spider-Man. It's a beautiful cover, the main cover. No?
Go on.
It's got all the villains on it. And returning is Green Goblin. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
not-
I saw.
I'm not a fan of killing a character, then bringing him back. I knew Green Goblin would come back. It's 50 issues and he's back. Why is he back though? Why is Kindred on the cover also? Why is MJ and Spidey back together? And really, they've had no issues. Like maybe a little bit of long-term stuff, but they've not had any drama. That's because this culminates with Gwen Stacy returning. That's who Kindred is. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Why else would you bring back Green Goblin? Isn't that the reason why she died? Look at you with your hand covering your mouth to
Oh
in
my
shock
god,
and
did you
awe.
just ruin this for me? Dude, if this is Gwen Stacy, oh my god.
This
Oh,
was
why
one
would
of my early theories, and I dismissed it because at Comic-Con last year, Nick Spencer was talking about Kindred, and he's like, Kindred, he's a mysterious character. And okay, I guess it's not Gwen Stacy, is what I thought. But,
Yeah.
I mean, look,
The
the way that they drew Kindred, where you couldn't really see her chest.
Wait, so did he mislabel her gender?
No, to throw people off. I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, I
He
understand.
referred to Kindred as a he. And if he did that on purpose, respect to you, Nick Spencer, because I'm gonna go to Gwen Stacy as my theory. You got a theory on who Kindred is?
No, I like that one. Holy crap, that'd be awesome. Okay, also when you said the 850, I thought you were going someplace else where you're going to say they're going to make Marvel's 850, blah 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 blah, 850 issues of blah, and it's like a separate comic, like one of those $10 100-page whatever. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
It
But
might
just
be.
in-
It might just be a $10 book.
It might be a $10 book, but at least it's one of the issues that we're supposed to get anyway. And as long as there's a lot in it, then I'm okay with whatever. I'm okay with it. It's just when you do that extra comic book and, it's like Marvel's 1000th issue, Marvel's 1001 issue, incoming, stuff like this. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. If it's going to be the 850th issue and they're going to do something big for it anyway, okay, I'm down.
It's a $9.99. Yeah.
It's going to be $9.99. Yeah, figures. There's good and there's bad with it because it's like I just want the regular comic book, and they're probably going to fill it with a bunch of fluff from other stuff, and it's like, do we need to see that? I don't know. There's good, there's bad.
And there's Oogly. Let's enter the world of wrestling before we leave.
Oh,
Shoot, Matt Riddle. We didn't get to talk about that. Comic Boom's not much of a wrestling fan, so I didn't bring it up.
yeah. Last week, right before, so Matt Riddle's debut was on SmackDown. That's awesome. He's a big time name in UFC. He's in MMA in general. Big time name in NXT. Big time name in the other wrestling company, MLW, whatever the heck it is.
He's a prospect.
Yeah, he was just a big deal, and it's like he's showing up and and he interrupted AJ Styles. I was cool with the whole thing. That was cool. That was a good debut for him, in this COVID situation. But we didn't think that he was going to be on there anymore. He wasn't advertised to show up anymore at one point because he was Me Too'd.
Wait, don't.
He was Me Too'd.
I wouldn't say it that way though, because I kind of believe this happened. I don't have enough evidence to persecute him, so I am okay with the WWE going along with the show because it's her word versus his word, and in that case, I'm not gonna sacrifice my company because of that. But
Who's the woman who made the accusation? Do you remember
she's
her name?
also a wrestler.
Yeah,
and she's
also in NXT, right?
No. She was
No.
not in NXT. This has happened in the Independents before he signed with
Okay,
NXT.
that independent one.
They were in a
Where-
van. There were a couple. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like you were saying, they were in a van. They were both in the front seat. There were 3 other guys in the
Yes.
back, and they were sleeping.
Allegedly sleeping, but if they were
Allegedly
being
sleeping,
good
yeah.
bros, I'm sure they were just keeping their eyes closed so that their boy could get some action. I'm sure that's what happened.
Maybe
No
I guess.
evidence.
I don't know. But
No
yeah,
evidence to
she
prove
was, like,
otherwise.
I'm not going to go into speculation. I'm going by what she said.
Fine, sure.
She said they were in the back sleeping, and in order to not wake them up, he says, "Hey, why don't you, jump on my?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to." And he says, "What if I
What if I
make
make
you?"
you? And don't forget to choke.
Oh, and apparently he choked her also.
Like put his
So
hands to her
she
neck.
didn't. So she didn't want to wake them up. People who could save her. That's where I'm getting a little bit iffy on this. Like, wait, what? Go on.
I respect that opinion, right? Because logically, but also if someone was more powerful than you, someone who had a relationship with you, someone who had all that, has their hands on the neck telling you got to do it. She made a tough decision, which I understand on her part. So I don't want to, I guess victim blame would be it is victim blaming. This one actually is victim blaming. I don't want to do that one.
If
I don't-
she actually, did it. It's just a weird thing. The whole thing, it's just really weird.
But you're asking her to make a split-second decision, and she decided to take the passive where no one gets hurt except for her emotionally, and I respect that. If it really happened allegedly,
If it really happened, yeah. Again, I don't want to do the whole I don't believe the women. I don't want to do that. Like, this is one of those really weird cases
Yeah.
where it's like, once again, he's about to go on NXT. Like, you could do this at any time. And I mean, I do have to go back to, what does she have to gain from this? She's probably never going to be hired by, WWE now.
Oh, by WWE, yeah.
Yeah, she's probably never going to be hired by WWE now. She's probably killed her chances. Like, she's got AWA or AWA, not AWA.
All Elite Wrestling, yeah.
AEW, there we go. AWA was the Minnesota brand back in the day. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, it potentially kills her prospects and stuff like that. It's just like, you waited when the guy was about to debut. You just attacked a company because they promised the debut of this guy, and then you were trying to make it so that now he can't debut, and it's like, why is this stuff happening?
I
Why
can
is this
tell
stuff
you why.
happening?
It's
Go ahead.
because this villain, this awful person is about to get a whole bunch of stuff that he does not deserve, and it just makes me sick, and these emotions came out of me. If these things actually happen. That's why.
Yeah, I hate that. Like, I hate what I'm saying. I really do. I hate what I'm saying right now.
Hey, we're offering both sides of or more sides than just one. Yeah.
I genuinely hate what I'm saying right now because this is me not believing the women. In this particular case, I'm not believing her. It's just one of those things where it's like, you could have done this at any time. You could have gathered evidence. You could have, like, did you talk to these guys afterwards? Like, were they actually sleeping? Like, you could have talked to, you could have done anything at any time ever. You could have waited a week if you found out. It's like, okay, I'm going to get some evidence because he could always be taken off the show. Saying I could Me Too him at any time. If he deserves it, then it can happen at any time. But when you just rush and jump to something, it's like, it's an emotion, it's a this, it's a that. And I understand, like, if this actually did happen to her, it's a bundle of emotion that she's dealing with in the first place. It's like, there were 3 people in the back who you could have been like, no, I'm serious. I don't want to, because even if he did say, what if I make you? Maybe it was a playful kind of thing. Maybe they've had rough sex before. I don't know. Well, I don't know. She was able to talk. She was able to talk. I don't know. Like, was there a mark on her neck when she went to the gig afterwards? Was there a mark on her neck?
They might have been coming back home if the guys were asleep, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. All of it. I genuinely just don't know. Like, it's just one of those weird things. It's like, you're telling me there were 3 guys in the back who could have stopped this guy, who could have saved you. It just, man, if that really happened, that's messed up, and Matt Riddle deserves to be wrecked on this. And I don't care what his wife says, that didn't happen, blah, blah. How would you know? You weren't there. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear from you. Here's a woman I definitely don't want to hear from. What I'm saying? I don't want to hear from his brother or anybody else out there. I want to know about there were 5 people in that van.
Yeah, I want to hear
Those
the
are
guys
the 5
in the
people
van.
I want to hear from.
If they were awake and if they were actually asleep, and this is all allegations.
Yeah. And it's just getting to be
But do you
too
feel
weird
guilty?
now.
But is this like, I feel guilty for even liking Matt Riddle for all these years. He grew on me. I grew an emotional relationship with this human being as a performer to a fan. And now that he's bad, I'm like, man, I wish I would have just found out earlier. Is that where this is coming from?
No, you know the first match I ever watched with Matt Riddle?
No one.
This one. He had a match. I don't even remember who it was with. He had a match there in SmackDown's first match I ever watched with him. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh.
So I went back and I saw some of the other wrestling promotion that he was with for a while. I saw some of that stuff. Actually, I went back and I looked at 2 of his matches from UFC. I saw the one thing where he knocked the guy out with like one punch, and the guy was just completely out of it. And that was, that's UFC, so like that's legit. Excuse me, this guy was the Prodigy. I went back and I looked at Dana White, just really pissed off at this guy. Like, the guy couldn't stay clean from weed. He only works 3 days a year. Well, first off, I think training is considered working.
Yeah.
So Dana White, shut your fat self up. Nobody wants to hear from you. All right?
Yeah.
Just
How long
shut
is
up,
training camp?
idiot.
Like 6 weeks?
At the very least, it's 3 months. 3 months to prepare for a fight.
Yeah, and
You know, so
they're
that's what
in
these guys
camp
usually
all
do.
the time. They're really showing up and working on their skills every single day. It's not right to say they work 3 days a week, 3 days a year.
Yeah, that's like what a way to diminish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What somebody does for a living. Wow. It's like, oh, your little UFC thing. Little? What? But I don't know. So I don't have any attachment to Matt Riddle at all. I just look at it as this was the big thing. And mind you, WWE is a garbage company. I'm going to say it again. Look, how many people just got COVID?
Oh yeah, I can't believe that. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh no, I can. I knew. I didn't. I'm one of those guys. When I say I knew it was going to happen, it means I guessed it was going to happen. I'm not psychic. I'm not prescient. I didn't know it was going to happen. There are people like, no, I knew it was going to happen. Oh, well, then you must have been involved in it because there's no other way you could have known. I hate when people say that, so I just hate it on myself right there. But I figure it's like this could definitely happen. And when Roman Reigns decided, I'm going to stay home.
Hey, you know what? Roman
He's the
Reigns.
smartest guy right? The Superman punch, was set up. The smartest guy in all of WWE right now. He's like, nope, I want to be there for my family. So I ain't showing up. Deal with it. No, smartest guy in wrestling. Nobody can take that away from him right now. So, boom. He's susceptible. He's got, lung issues, with the leukemia or whatever version of cancer he's got.
Yeah.
Brah, smartest guy out there, So WWE is a garbage company. But again, this thing with her saying it at this particular time, screwing with a business, that's not just screwing him. That's screwing the business, because now look at this situation where Vince McMahon and all these other people, Vince McMahon is a scumbag, but I'm saying it, he's trying to do this business, and all of a sudden you turn around and you do this right now, of all times, right now. You're not just screwing with him. You're screwing with the company. She literally just shot down her chances of getting in. So now, if she does not have any proof, did she go and take a picture of her neck? Because I would. That's just me. I would. You know what I'm saying? This is, I've gotten into fights. I've had somebody, hit me before. You know what I'm saying? I've had somebody actually shove, bump into my when he was 4 years old, my 4-year-old, and then shove his neck. And this was in a dollar store. And I remember I screamed. And in Canada, you're not supposed to scream. I screamed. I had people coming over telling me to calm down. I was like, F you, you calm down. Does that camera up there actually have a videotape in it right now? Because that old broad just went and hit my kid twice. Just assaulted my 4-year-old. Do you have it? And I'm screaming and screaming and screaming. No, I know what just happened. I know what just happened. And I went calling the police and everything on this. You know what I'm saying? No, I know what happened. I see what happened. I want something done now. Like, I'm not going to wait and all of a sudden I find out that she just got a job someplace and that's when I'm going to say something. No, I wanted that video footage. I made them show it to the cops when they showed up. Nothing happened to her, unfortunately, but she was told, let me see, I'm writing down a report. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to press charges in Canada the same way as in the States. But anyway,
yeah, it's great up here. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I would have taken a picture. If this guy would have put his hands on my neck, I would have taken a picture.
I'm not
You know
gonna
what I'm
go
saying?
into the mind. I don't know what it's like to be in the mind of someone who just had to go through what she just had to go through. So I'm
If
not gonna.
she went through
Yeah,
it.
if she went through it, yeah.
If she went through it.
This
Yeah.
is all allegations. And imagine like, oh, I gotta out Matt Riddle. Man, promoter's not gonna like me for that. Oh, he's
That's the
gonna
only
affect
thing.
my bottom line because there
Yeah.
will be a smaller crowd the next time at this event, and then maybe they're gonna be
And
like,
maybe
okay,
people
well, we're
booing
not
her.
gonna do a
Yeah.
women's match this time
Yeah.
because yeah, you can see the domino effect of what telling on Matt Riddle would do,
Yeah.
and I just sympathize with her if everything she's saying is true.
Yeah. The only thing stopping me from just trashing her is the idea like she literally has nothing to gain from this if she was using a rational mind.
Wait a minute. Women in general in wrestling have a lot to gain from this.
What? How so?
Men are aware of it. Men are who may have had a blind eye or turned away or not realized that it was going on are seeing it more. They might even step in and say, "Bro, that's not how you treat a woman."
Oh man, the
time
Joey
something-
Janela thing.
What's the Joey Janela thing?
You didn't know about this? Yo, he plays
he
a
fought
porn
with
star
Enzo.
no. Joey, no, he plays the porn star guy on the.
Okay, that's Joey
yeah.
Ryan.
Joey Ryan. Okay, my bad. Joey Ryan. So you know about the Joey Ryan thing,
Yeah,
right?
he's got like an open relationship, and his wife doesn't mind if he f's girls over in the UK and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but apparently he also forced himself on this one girl, took her hand and like put it down his pants and said, stroke me off, stuff like that. And she was
Allegedly, yeah.
like, allegedly, but there's a lot of people coming forward about this. No, there's a lot of women coming forward about him. So this I can absolutely believe. You know what I'm saying? And this is actual sexual assault. These are women saying, I didn't want this. And she's like, she's like, I've got a partner. I don't want to, do something like this. What am I going to say? And then he goes and whispers in her ear, it's okay. I promise I won't tell what happened.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
pretty awful.
gaslighting. This guy is a terrible human being. So when I see people getting online on Twitter and saying, "Oh, the guy who acts like a sleazy porn star is actually a sleazy porn star," yeah, the Repo Man wasn't actually a Repo Man. Undertaker's
exactly.
not really dead, and Kane wasn't actually burnt up. It turns out. So no, I don't want to. Okay, the Stone Cold case is a little bit different. Like he actually is Stone Cold, but like
Oh, I
wrestlers.
thought you were
aren't
gonna say
always-
beating his wife.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if he actually beat up on Deborah or not. If he did, he's scum. But yeah, all of it like that is messed up. But like the Matt Riddle thing, I didn't see anybody else come out and say anything. So I can literally take what she said at her word and say, okay. But if there's absolutely no proof of it, nice story. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
I've met Joey Ryan. I've met Matt Riddle. I'm not friends with them. They don't even remember meeting me and shaking my hand. But like their demeanor, their attitudes, it's all positive. I've never seen a glimpse or yeah, I can see a sexual predator somewhere hidden in there. I've never got that feeling from those two men. So I'm not here to slam my judges. Is it called the gavel?
Gavel, yeah.
I'm not here to do that little thing. I'm good. I'm good with just, okay, I hear you out. Nice. Good to know. But unless you can prove it, I'm not going to damn anybody yet. Unless I knew the woman. See, because I have a friend also in wrestling who told me, and there's no doubt, just because like I know the character and I understand her, and she told me that it happened to her, and I believe her 100%. Just I believe her 100%. It's nothing to. I'm not even outing who it is actually. So we're good. I never want to put someone in that kind of position, but yeah, I get it. It happens. Oh, that was the last topic, wasn't it? You want to go into Chill's headcanon? Let's dip into the world of Star Wars.
Okay, John Williams theme.
Aliens are native to their planet. The reason why we have so many human beings or Terrans or humanoids, whatever the word is, people like you and me, is because, yes, Hollywood, and yes, it's cheap. But in the Star Wars universe, the reason why is because the alien-looking people who look different are native to their own planet. We saw this on Naboo. We got all of them people who live above the water, and underwater, there's these guns. How you know, and there's sand people, and there's all these people who are just, you know what, this habitat is ours. We work better here. It's how our bodies are functioned to be here, not on spaceships traveling to Coruscant and back and all that stuff. And that is why, in my headcanon, that is why we only see a few of the alien-looking people.
Yeah, they're all native to the planet. They don't travel nearly as much. Probably including Rhodians. Sand people actually have a history. I think that they're actually supposed to be humans also. I can't remember though, but there was they're originally called the Tusken Raiders,
Right.
Sand people. There is actually a EU history of them. There was the Tusken base that first came, and then the Sand people showed up and they actually massacred everybody at the base. That's why they were called the Tusken Raiders. Yeah.
So when Mandalorian was talking to them, did that contradict any of the old EU stuff, or could you see them talking back to them?
No, I could. Plus,
Okay.
if you ever read the original novel, I have it here someplace. I wonder if I have it accessible. Not that I can see. The Star Wars Phantom Menace novel that came out back in the day. These used to come out before the movies came out. You could read the novel and find out what happens in the movie. And there would also be little tidbits that happened in the book that wouldn't make it to the movie. And you'd be like, oh, what would happen if that would be the case? And the Phantom Menace novel, the very first thing that we learned is that Anakin, little Annie, was out doing whatever, and he got lost out in the desert, like separated from people. And then some sand people, the Tusken Raiders, actually found him, and they made a bond with him. They were like, it was like really cool. They helped him and fed him and whatnot, and got him back to Mos Eisley. Was it Mos Eisley or Mos Espa? Whatever. Anyway, got him back to where he needed to be. And it was a pretty interesting part, especially when you saw the next movie or read the next book, where he goes and massacres them and says, "I hate them," and things like that. Like, that was a big deal to see that transition. It's like it made it so that these were people who he actually owed a debt to, and that's how much hatred he felt. It made the scene more telling, than just what happened in the movies.
Yeah. And not just the men, but the women and the children.
That wouldn't be the last time that he kills children.
Oh.
The younglings. Oh, man.
I told you it'd be a good podcast this week.
Yeah, you did. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see the people's reaction. The people.
You can help by thumbsing up the video.
Hold on, just really quick. I thought of another wrestling thing. I did it for the people. I did it for The Rock. You remember that Rikishi thing?
Yeah, shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty.
How'd you know I was wearing a thong? All right, cool. All right, so give the outro thing. You're saying like it and
yeah, all that
love
stuff. You guys know what to do, man. Like it and love it.
Share it. Leave a
watch
comment. Rate us on iTunes, because
that's very important.
Definitely is. And we'll see you on Tuesday at midnight. Tuesday, first thing Tuesday. When most people are sleeping, that's when this goes live. And Chill and I should be in the podcast having a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see you over here, like you just said. So Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Chillmonger, class dismissed.